G'day everyone, I'm Smokescreen and welcome back to another video, and here we go with some daily racing, something a little bit of a change of pace from the manufacturers in Nations Cup. We're going to jump into actually Daily Race A this time because I thought Daily Race A was quite a good combination. As you can see there, it was Laguna Seca driving the Radical SR1, so I decided to buy a Suzuki Cappuccino, and I also decided to buy a Toyota Prius G. So we were well and truly prepared for the motorsport phenomenon that was going to be happening in Daily Race A today. I also decided to buy this Plymouth, the iconic Plymouth Superbird from 1970 with the massive rear wing, but neither of those cars, or any of those cars, were a match for this, the Radical SR3 SL, can't forget the SL, from 2013. It's a little track day car, so nice and fun to drive. It weighs about 700 kilos, it's got about 230 horsepower, and I decided to go livery hunting. I found some cool liveries here, including this Martini one, this Karcher one, and this Lightning McQueen one, but none of them prepared me for what this beauty would be. The Formula 1 inspired Alpine livery with the black and blue. I applied that to the car. It cost me 18 grand in parts in order to apply this to the car, but it was all worth it in the end because we had a beautifully prepared Alpine Radical SR3 ready to take on Laguna Seca. I jumped into the very first race, which was only 2 minutes after I applied all these parts, so I definitely had quite a bit of work to do here as we jump into the practice session. And this is going to be the full extent of my practice here. I've got 1 minute and 45 seconds to get up to speed for a race, and as you can see, I immediately bin it at turn 6, the fast flying left-hander with the sausage on the apex. Probably one of the most famous corners at Laguna Seca. I think this is probably the most famous corner at Laguna Seca, probably one of the most famous corners in American club motorsport, but yeah, as you can see, we're making an absolute hash of it, so we've got quite a bit of work to do as we jump into the race here for this sensational warm-up. So we're going to have to go out, get all warmed up, and as we get out of the pits, beautiful, absolutely impeccable warm-up. I'm ready to go. My body is prepared for what we're about to see. But obviously I set no qualifying time, so I'm at the back. I'm starting in 9th, so you've definitely got to do a bit of work for Alpine before Fernando Alonso takes over. But off we go, off the grid for the start of the race. Interestingly, the odd numbers are on the right-hand side of the grid, so which means pole position is on the right-hand side, which is the outside for the hairpin coming up. So maybe pole isn't the best place to start, which is good because I'm starting 9th. So anyway, we come into, there's a massive concertina effect and I get basically stopped for dead. So we've got to try and accelerate out of the corner now. And I get a penalty. I get a penalty for that. I suppose that's fair. I did run into the backside of someone, but they did stop. Done a bunny hop. The blue car's done a bunny hop. The red car's smashed into the back of someone. We're around the outside of the yellow car as well. So that's us up 3 positions in the matter of basically 2 corners. Absolutely beautiful. However, we also have to serve this 1 second penalty. We've not quite got things as bad as McLovin Blaze 420 does, as they get a 4 second penalty. We smash into the back of Parallel, and I think that actually increases our penalty by 3 seconds, so somehow we've still not got it as bad as McLovin Blaze 420. We're both going to serve our penalties on the only set of penalty gates here at Laguna Seca, which is coming out onto the main straight, so the most damaging spot on the track to actually have a penalty gate, but that's okay because it's a really big deterrent not to get a penalty. We're stuck up behind Parallel GJ here, driving the red Radical. We take a little bit of a wider line here. Remember, we're still getting up to speed on the car. I'm still not 100% familiar with how this car handles, as demonstrated there by a couple of kicks of oversteer. Oh dear, I've still not quite got it as bad as McLovin Blaze 420, who clatters the sausage on the inside of the second to last corner and ends up spinning out in the gravel trap with still a 4 second penalty to serve. As for us, we've got our 3 second penalty, which once again is decidedly less worse off than McLovin Blaze 420, and we only get overtaken by Crazy Cam 13. Surely that's Cameron Waters in his off season. He definitely races radicals at Laguna Seca. Don't even argue with me there. But we finished that first lap in 5th. We've caught up to Crazy Cam 13. We've got to make sure not to run into the back of them here, as bit of an oversteer moment there, and it gives me an opportunity to go up the inside at probably one of the spots on the track where going up the inside is least favourable. But we've claimed the inside, the corner is undoubtedly ours, and Crazy Cam complies and doesn't bother trying to hang it around the outside. And at the end of the day, we finish off in 4th, which is still not worse, which is not any worse off than McLovin Blaze 420, who finishes in 5th. But anyway, we've got 9 minutes until the next race, 9 minutes to improve our qualifying time from a --dot --. So obviously quite a big improvement to happen there as we exit the final turn up towards the line. To begin this first lap here, let's see what we can do. We've basically just got to test the waters here, experiment with braking points. Let's go nice and simple right on the number 3 board for turn 2. And I think when the conditions are right, that braking point is probably dead correct. I just got the turn in slightly wrong. Slightly awkward gear change out of there up into 3rd gear, and braking just sort of on the drain on the left-hand side, which I like to use, but nobody else seems to point out in videos, but I'll do it. And then coming into here, nice dab of brakes. Probably turn in a bit early. Oh, we clattered that sausage. So we've done a McLovin Blaze 420, clattered the sausage and ended up in the gravel trap. So we're going to have to attempt again. We've still only got a comma, as a qualifying time, and that is going to continue as we clatter the sausage once again. Are we going to get 3rd time lucky? Are we going to get past this tumultuous sausage that inhabits and resides on the inside? Yes, we are. Beautiful. Okay, let's continue on this particular lap here and make sure we don't bin it at any more sausages. I seem to be loving the sausages today. We get through here okay this time. Better than the last time we got through here, which was what? Maybe about 7 minutes ago now in terms of the video. Anyway, up towards the corkscrew. Let's make sure we don't go too deep here like we did last time, which was probably also 7 minutes ago in terms of the video. Head down the corkscrew, around Rainy Curve here, where you get the car turned. Nice there, a little bit of oversteer on the exit, but it's not to worry. Braking just before the number 2 there, and you're absolutely kidding. You have got to be absolutely joking. I clattered the other sausage this time, and yeah, I was. It was quite funny, I'll be honest, because I was like, oh my goodness, I've done this entire lap. And yeah, the sausage claims us once again, and we managed to bring home an improvement in qualifying to a 1:39.011. Let's see if we can get turn 1 any better this time. So my ghost goes a little bit deeper than me. I turned in a little bit earlier, but I don't think there was an improvement there. Let's see, get the corkscrew. Oh no, I decided to spin out this time. So this practice session, you know, just getting all the cobwebs out. We're definitely a little bit all over the place. We don't even improve that lap there on that occasion. But we do on this sector split here, and we don't clatter that sausage that time. And in fact, we experiment with a different gear there. We choose 4th gear out of this one, and look at my ghost just completely fall off the back of me. So 4th gear is clearly better, and I was like, okay, maybe the higher gears work better. Let's try 4th out of this corner. And as we get on the power, it's a little bit slow in the initial part, but my ghost has yet to do a gear change. There he goes, and I managed to actually gain a little bit there. I'll probably gain about a 10th from choosing 4th gear, so I think that's quicker. And that was ultimately quite a large improvement, a 2.5 second improvement to a 36.5, and then we finally set a 36.3, or I think it was it 0.3? I don't know. It was good enough for pole, whatever it was. But like I mentioned before, I'm on the wrong side of the track. I've got syrup face on the left-hand side, which is the inside, and we start sort of just about overlapping with one another, so I can't just cut across to the inside. That slight left kink of turn 1 favours syrup face, and it's good enough for him to actually get up the inside at turn 2. So pole position is not the best place to start at Laguna Seca here, evidently. We still got the inside now. We've hung it around the outside of the Andretti hairpin, up the inside for turn 3. Make sure we get it stopped and turned, because it could give syrup face an opportunity to get a cut back. He doesn't actually perform so we have to now not clatter the sausage as we head through here. We actually get quite a decent run through there, and that gap to syrup face opens up to a total of about 10 seconds at the end of the race. We managed to actually bring home a sensational victory with a pole position and the fastest lap. So we go out for another qualifying session, improve our quali time to a 36.0 now, start off pole position once again, and we're going to have to make sure we get a really good run off turn 1 this time. which we do, and by the end of that race, that was an 8-second gap, and we won that with flying colours. A couple of seconds faster than my previous race, and still not worse off than McLovin Blaze 420, who once again finishes behind me. Another qualifying lap improvement to a 35.7 puts us once again, would you believe it, on pole bloody position for the next race. Is this, what, the 4th or 5th race of the video today? But we get a decidedly terrible start, and Syrup Face actually gets the jump on me here and gets that overtake completely done. He covers the inside of the Andretti hairpin. There's nothing I can do, as they're all bunching up behind from the looks of down on the radar. I think they were about 6 wide at one particular frame on the radar there. Syrup Face gets a little bit slow out of here, but I decide it's not worth heading up the inside. The risk of an incident's not worth it. He runs very wide through turn 3. We managed to get that overlap done as we head up towards turn 4, but it's not soon enough so I can return to the left-hand side, and I get a poor run through here. Syrup Face gets a cutback. It's a much better run up this straight. Look how much extra speed he's carrying now. So he's got a 3/10 gap. As we head up towards turn 5, we're going to use our 4th gear trick, see if we can gain any time. We'll lose a tiny bit directly on corner exit, but as long as Syrup Face has a gear change to do, which I think he did, by the end of that little straight we should be gaining, and we can avoid another couple of gear changes because we can keep it in 4th as we head through turn 6, up the hill, still in 4th gear. We don't even have to change up the hill, which is a really good place to not have to change gear, because heading uphill and changing gears on this H-pattern gearbox will be really, really detrimental. So we're right on the back of Syrup Face, and as long as you can remain this close as we head out onto the main straight, there is perhaps grounds for a move to be completed at turn 2, which would be really good here, although Syrup Face is going to run wide, which is going to give me a slight overlap opportunity here. Slight bit of contact as he returns to the racing line. However, if we're going off some motorsport rules, I was not halfway alongside, so I guess technically he is entitled to chop me off. There's a slight bit of a gear change there. As we head up into the slipstream, I decide to deploy the nitrous, which is actually a H-pattern shifter, which I've now got connected to my wheel. So I've gained a load of speed by doing my manual shifts. So yeah, I've got my H-pattern gear shifter connected to my wheel now, so I can basically use that whenever I like. I sort of prefer the paddles, but in straight line situations like that, the H-pattern will be slightly faster because you can actually shift the car a lot faster than the game shifts you when you pull the paddle. So that's definitely an advantage, and quite a significant advantage at that, to have in these daily races where the car does indeed have a H-pattern gearbox, because it will be faster if you can perform those shifts yourself. Although obviously it opens up a lot more opportunity for you to be fumbling your gears and you can miss a shift, which is obviously a very real thing that can happen in real life, but not something that can happen if you're pulling paddles. But we've got past Syrup Face in lieu of deciding to employ the H-pattern tactic, and that gap is opening up as we head up towards the corkscrew. At the end of lap 2, we're heading up towards the halfway phase of this race, and there's quite a large gap to the guy in 3rd. We get a really good corkscrew there. 3rd gear, once again just choosing a slightly higher gear, and that gap to Syrup Face has opened up to about 4/10 of a second, about half a second now, as we get a pretty good run through Rainy Curve. Let's see if we can get a really good run through here, nice and tight to the apex without clattering the curb, and that gap to Syrup Face opens up to beyond the slipstream range as we head into the final turn, get it turned, get back on the power before we even touch the apex, accelerate down the main straight, and that gap has opened up to almost 1 entire second, and by the end of the race that gap continues to extend out to 4 total seconds for another sensational, beautiful 3-star victory. We improve our qualifying lap once again to a 35.2, and that is once again good enough for pole position. I think you can see where this is going. Syrup Face now starts directly behind me, as there's now been a car interjected into the front row in between myself and Syrup Face in form of White Eagle 11. He once again gets the better run, sends it up the inside at turn 1, gets the run out of turn 1. Actually, it's technically turn 2, isn't it? And we get a decidedly poor run out of there as well, so White Eagle consolidates his lead at the moment. We both run ever so slightly wide through turn 3, but White Eagle has that gear change. I have a little bit of an awkward decision there, and I was like, oh, I've got the opportunity. No, it's not a good spot because of the sausage sitting so conspicuously in the middle of the corner, and then that particular conspicuous sausage gets the most of White Eagle 11. It almost claims me as well, as I sort of follow White Eagle's trajectory there. Stupendo and Syrup Face both take advantage of that, and I find myself down in 3rd, when I really probably should have been 1st if I simply wasn't focusing on White Eagle so much. Syrup Face gets a poor run out of this corner here. We're looking around the outside for Rainy Curve, but that doesn't quite work out. But we get the run on the exit, but once again, the straight is sort of not long enough in order for that to actually prove to be an advantage. So we're still behind him. Heading up towards the final turn, we've got a little bit of a race on our hands now because we've got to get past Syrup Face while also not battling too much to lose Stupendo. I do believe I'm probably the fastest bloke here on the grid, but let's grab the slipstream of Syrup Face. Let's employ the H-Pat Nitrous once again, using that manual clutch, flat shifting the Radical, and we managed to absolutely rocket past Syrup Face. So it is really a massive advantage to be able to use that H-pattern shifter, and that is us up into second. And you know, maybe some people won't like me using it, but it's all legal, it's all fair game. I've done my practice and I know how to use it such that it's faster. So there you go. Up behind Stupendo, we get a much better run out of turn 3. That's a purple split, although we've only done the first lap, so it's not really, it doesn't really prove anything. Anyway, slipstream is Stupendo up towards turn 5. We're not quite going to get that move done here, although Stupendo goes slightly wide. I get the better exit. He'd probably be in third gear, but maybe halfway down he'll perform a gear change. Just there, now we're gaining, and obviously that straight is not long enough, and we didn't have enough overlap. He gets a slight bit of oversteer out of turn 6, heading up the hill towards the corkscrew. I've gone to have the wrong side as we head through turn 7, and that is going to lead to turn 8, where he's still up the inside there. We run side by side down the corkscrew. How's that for a bit of racing? But ultimately, the Alpine Radical prevails, and we managed to actually claim that lead as we head through Rainy Curve. And by the end of that race, that gap opened up to 7.5 seconds. We once again come across the line for another beautiful victory. 2-star result, pole position, fastest lap, and we're going to move on to the final race of the video. No further improvement to the qualifying time. I have since improved it since I recorded the footage, and that is going to be the end of qualifying. It's also going to be the end of the race because I decided to get a bit cheeky and try and get the run off the start by using the shifter, but I missed the shift and ended up getting overtaken by 3 other cars. I get rammed as well. Oh my goodness, who was that? That's a ram for money if I've ever seen it. H-Bestie runs off the track, as do I, and I end up running into the back of him instead of heading up the gap, so I find myself squarely in 10th position. Actually, I spoke too soon. There's someone that's behind me all of a sudden. But anyway, we're right at the back of the field. Chels AMG, I think, was the instigator of the punt at turn 2. So they've got themselves a 2-second penalty. I think the guy ahead of them also has a penalty. I'm side by side with this yellow Radical as we head up towards turn 5. It's the guy in 5th that has a 5-second penalty. Oh my goodness. It's been a while since we've been witnessing the absolute grace upon the eyes that is a 5-second penalty as long as the opponent has it. Oh! There's contact at turn 6.
Thank you so much.
As the yellow car sends it up the inside at a silly part of the circuit, and that is what you've really got to be careful of when you're going for a move there, to not push the other guy off the track. So we're now definitely firmly, squarely down in last, but not for long because we overtake H-Guy Timothy at the end of lap 1, and then my gear shifter messes up and puts me down into second gear. I pulled the paddle to downshift then, and it almost double shifted and went down into second. Anyway, we managed to get past Chels AMG, so no more punting at turn 1 to report of, let's hope. And the gap ahead is currently sitting at 2.7. Gap behind was about 1 second, but that has since changed since we've changed the clip, evidently. And we've caught up to H-Bestie by the time we're heading up the corkscrew. I think they've had to perform a gear change up the hill because look how fast we are approaching them. It's still not going to be fast enough as we have 0 overlap heading into the corkscrew, so the risk of completing a move there was simply too high. Up behind H-Bestie, we're going to try and switch around and switch back to the inside at Rainy Curve, clatter the sausage halfway through. I couldn't resist, and we're going to be still behind H-Bestie. It's really not worked out at this stage. We're right on the back of them now, and they go back to the inside and the outside and the inside. I don't know where they're going, so I hang behind for now. Make sure we hit that apex at turn 12. I think they run really wide. I got nowhere to go. I sort of graze off the side of them a little bit, but that's okay. We're up into 7th. We've still got a couple of laps of this race to go, and we're going to skip pretty much towards the exact point on lap 3, which where we caught up to H-Bestie. This time we've caught up to Ivan and Project Paintball. So there's going to be paranormal activity. Call the police. but we managed to get past Ivan, who was obviously quite stunned at the paranormal activity happening in the form of Project Paintball. So maybe Project Paintball is code for some ghostly activities. He comes in with a return move, so stunned he can't handle it, and ends up opening the path for me to get the move up the middle of the pair of them, and that's us up into 5th with 1 lap to go. We've got a 5-second gap to drifters ahead. Actually, it's closing down by a matter of a tenth per update. We once again catch up to him at turn 6 or up the hill. Syrup Face, our good mate Syrup Face from up the front of the pack, has had some sort of coming together with something, probably his car with another car, by the fact he's got a 3-second penalty and no grip, so he's obviously been off the track a little bit. We're up behind Drifters Incorporated now, so we've got another strange name as well. We're trying to head up the inside here, not quite going to happen, and that is going to be us still in 4th. Get a slight little bit of wiggle of oversteer off the back of that corner. We get a much better run up the inside of the final turn. Try and get it stopped on the apex. And then Drifters Incorporated comes back. Little bit of a move. And he's pushing against me. I push back. He does lose a little bit of speed. So I was probably a little bit naughty from myself. I was just returning what was given to me, you know. I managed to actually pick up the podium there. You know, sorry drifters, but yeah, stuff happens, and that is going to finish up this video with a beautiful 3rd, a beautiful pole position, and a questionably clean race. So do hit the like button if you enjoyed, and do subscribe if you'd like to see more videos and streams from me. Do leave a comment as well, as questions, comments, and constructive criticism, as always, very much appreciated. That's going to be the end of this video today, and that means that is it from me. So once again, I do thank you very much for watching. See you later.